I missed him. I missed him. I missed him. I missed him.
My child, Joelle, was murdered in Brampton. He was my only child.
He died at the age of 27.
Nobody know he had a gun. My son just walk in the house and get shot, just like that.
My son was innocent. My son died because I do not know why, but he's dead.
It hurts like hell.
I essentially parted ways with them after my son passed. I just couldn't take on the stress anymore.
Like right now, I could say I'm homeless.
He's still in my heart right now. I have a t-shirt of him.
And that's when the doctors told me that my son had passed.
I think, honestly speaking, the government is responsible for each and every one of our children that the gun took their lives for unnecessary reasons.
Toronto, Canada, a city known for its cultural diversity, safety, and vibrant communities. But beneath its surface lies a growing epidemic that threatens its tranquility: gun violence. In recent years, gun violence has become an all too familiar reality in Toronto. What was once considered isolated incidents have now evolved into a pervasive problem, leaving communities shattered and lives lost. The time to act is now. Together, we can stand against gun violence and build a brighter, safer future for Toronto and its residents. In the face of adversity, Toronto remains silent. Through unity, determination, and collective action, we can overcome the scourge of gun violence and preserve the city's spirit of peace and harmony. The Mothers of Peace Regent Park, a grassroots organization, provides support to mothers who lost their child to gun violence through healing circles.
My name is Denise Stennett. Okay, so November 30th, 2019, my child, Joelle, was murdered in Regent. He was my only child. Our relationship, typical mother and son, on and off, but for the most part, we got along really well. He was essentially like my best friend. We discussed everything. He had gotten into doing rap music with some friends, and I think from there, just association and who they were associated with, unfortunately, he just became a target by association. They did previously make 2 attempts on, I guess, his friend who was the target, but he survived. So my son was essentially, I'll say, the weakest link. So he was at his friend's house that night, and they went to the store, and upon coming back, that's when the shooter exited his car. It had a great impact on myself. As I said, it's only my only child. It's losing a child and losing a best friend. Essentially, my son was extremely well-loved, extremely popular, so it took a toll on everyone. Both his church friends, school friends, basketball friends, an extended family. So it's been a lonely journey, but a lot of his friends are still involved in my life. We do celebrate his birthday memorial every year, and my extended family, they support me as well. Some of the challenges, losing, I guess, all your friends. I don't know if it was hard for people to be around me, or maybe I just didn't have real friends, essentially. So it makes life even lonelier. Family, my family was dysfunctional and toxic to begin with, so I essentially parted ways with them after my son passed. I just couldn't take on the stress anymore. I no longer go to my son's church that I used to attend. It's just too difficult. And holidays are extremely hard. I don't really celebrate any holiday because it's always with my son. I don't really celebrate my birthday because it's always with my child. It's with my friends, and then me and my son would go out. So it's very bleak. Nothing much to look forward to. Grief is mourning the loss of someone that you loved. I've learned to realize that, yeah, everybody does grieve differently. I've encountered people who you would almost think that they didn't lose a child. In the beginning, it was extremely hard for me because a lot of people kept saying, you know, you got to move on, you got to get past it. You know, I go to the cemetery way too often. But speaking with different mothers, I realized that the relationship you had with your child plays an important part in how you grieve for your child. And as I said, my child was my best friend. So speaking with another mother whose child was her best friend, she made me realize that what I do is normal. There's nothing abnormal about anything that you do when it comes to grief. Everybody has their own way of doing it, but she made me feel more comfortable with keeping my connection with my son and doing the 2 celebrations a year. I stopped making contact. I realized that I think my son's case was just going to be a cold case. Who they thought was the killer, he was in jail at the time. The 2 friends that were with him probably do know who it is, but they're not speaking up. And part of me doesn't blame them because they're involved or around something that's way above their head, right? This is all stemming from music that just went wrong. Normal kids trying to get into this rap game, and who's really involved in the rap game is way above them, essentially gangs at the end of the day. So I don't think they'll ever catch the killer, and part of me is okay with that. Yeah, it was dear to me, or maybe dear to my son, because he finally reached the legal age of drinking in public. So I think that was his first time that he actually ordered alcohol, which was very pleasing to him, that he could for once not just get a sip of mine, he could get a whole glass of whatever he wanted. Yeah. I'm overseen by a psychiatrist for the past, I guess maybe 4.5 years. I'm still medicated. Wanting to come off, but it doesn't feel that I'll cope coming off the medication. So I see my psychiatrist usually every 1 to 3 months. And I've been seeing a social worker probably for the same duration, 4.5 years. I started off with 1, and I finished those sessions. I began with another lady. I do come to, or down to Regent Park, which is mothers that have gone through the same thing as myself, every second Wednesday of the month. And it's just basically a support group for each other. Any advice? From going through this journey, and even before this journey, I realized that with a lot of kids, they don't have a lot of support from their parents. And there's not a lot of love that goes around. And I've always stressed before my son passed, and even more now, know your child. Be open with your child. Know what they're going through. For me, my son is my best friend. Your child doesn't have to be your best friend. But that's one thing that means a lot to me, that although my son is gone, I can't say I didn't know my son. There's nothing that came about as a surprise other than hearing lots of stories about his friends, what they do, how my son was a comedian. So some of the jokes he did, showed me videos and pictures of their excursions. I pretty much knew most of my son's friends. And I would say, to any parent, it's important to be in your child's life, because you never know when anything could happen. And you know what, you lose your child knowing that I don't know my child at all.
Hi, my name is Charmaine Brathwaite Samuel. I'm a mother of 4, lost one son on the 11th of June 2021. He was murdered, shot in front of our house. That was on Lawrence Avenue and Scarborough Golf Club. He was my second born. He died at the age of 27. It hurts like hell up to now. I have a very hard time dealing with it because he was my stronghold. I have 2 other boys, one with cerebral palsy. The oldest one is autistic, and a twin is cerebral palsy, and the girl is good. So losing that son was like the strongest backbone for me. It's very hard to try and come to terms with it. Sometimes I just try and tell myself he's still in Windsor where he went to school, because I can't believe that he's actually gone. You know, his brother is having a hard time, his sister, we are all having a hard time dealing with it. A big, gentle giant. Very cool and calm, not violent. You know, he had chosen friends. So this was like a blow to the heart when they did this to my son, because he's not one of them in that lifestyle. And although the police got who did it, it's not good enough for me because they're alive and my son is no more. It affected us. Like right now, I could say I'm homeless because I had to move. I was living there for 21 years and I couldn't handle it. None of us could have handled it. Then we didn't know why and how and who at the time. So my friends and family wanted us to be out of there. So, and then moving, you know, it took a toll on us. And it's still affecting us right now because getting a place with 2 children with on disability, it's very hard as a black mother, because people that own the houses now, they are mostly Chinese, Indians, and they don't want black people in their houses. Plus, as ODSP, they don't want to take that as rent. So I'm having a very hard time. I'm looking, and I just don't know where to turn because the system here, it sucks. It's depressing. It's hard. It's sometimes I just I actually could say I live in my bedroom now. I don't care to do much. Like, I don't go out much. I don't do anything much. Come into this group, meeting other mothers with the same problem, sons got murdered or whatever. It kind of helps a little bit, but still, it's hard to swallow. It's still going through, but okay, like people say you're going to get closure. It's not closure for me because they are alive. If closure for me is giving them a needle or something, getting rid of them just as how they get rid. That's how I see it. They being alive still, it's not enough justice. Pray and ask God for the strength, because without that strength, it's difficult to move on. Young people, like, try to get an education, try and make something of yourself, turn into violence, it's not worth it. There's lots of things out there that you guys can do. I was a single mom. I am a single mom. My kids' dad passed away when they were like 2, 3, and 4. And now they're going to be like 31, 30, and 29. So you guys could do a trade, do something with yourself instead of wanting people's stuff that doesn't belong to you and picking up the guns.
It's a beautiful Sunday morning. We went to assist my daughter to move some furniture from our previous home to our present home, and we were there, having fun, moving the furniture, laughing and gaffing like always we do. And after the moving was finished, Joshua and myself and my granddaughter drove back to my home, and we used the bathroom, and then we went over to my sister's house. He told me that I should stay there and wait for them until they come back. He went with her to take the U-Haul truck back to the west. Apparently on the way back from the west, they stopped at Little Caesar. They bought pizza and they were on their way home. I was still at my sister's house. Next thing you know, I was wondering why they were taking so long. So I was trying to call them, but I said, he's driving, so I should leave him and make him drive safely and calm. I know they're coming. And next thing you know, my phone rang, and I looked at my phone and I said, I do not know the number, but then I said, I'll still answer. I answered the call, and it was my neighbor. And I said, Tiff? She said, yeah. She said, come, Josh has been shot. I said, what are you talking about, Josh shot? What do you mean? What are you saying? But she still say, come. So I now know, she was serious. So with that, I grabbed my jacket and my phone and I ran out my sister's house. By then I was screaming, because as I get out of my sister's house, I see a lot of people gathering, and people are screaming, and then I'm saying, it's real. And as I approach my home and I get up the stairs, police officers were there and they were attending to him, but I rushed out and I called his name, and I know he heard me, and I said, Josh, Mommy, I'm sorry that I wasn't here, and I'm sorry, hon, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. And I'm trying to ask the police officers what's going on, and they said they don't know. And I called out his name. I said, Josh, Mommy, sorry. And I put my hands under the stairs and I touched him, and I'm calling his name as loud as I can, and I know he heard me because he starts to groan, like he starts this inner groan from within. And then they said to me, I came up on the stairs like to go to touch him more, and they said no, that I could not, so I needed to exit. So I left and I walked away, and I was just there crying in the neighborhood, and they took some time there because they said that his heart had stopped, so they had to resuscitate him, and I asked him if they could have kindly take him away and get him help so that he would have survived, but he didn't make it. Losing a child is not fair, and the way that I've lost my child, it was senseless. It was not acceptable. It wasn't something that we were expecting. Losing my son, it's detrimental. It's like my whole family turned upside down. We're all grieving, cannot get over it, and I don't know if we will ever able to, because Josh was a major part of our lives, and he's not here now with us. Being placed on meds, having issues. My daughter, she works, and she's always having issues with unemployment. It's like she's grieving but still fighting for the money that she have put into that program that's supposed to be helping her at this time, and it's so hard. My daughter has 3 children, and it's hard to see her sometimes struggle just to make ends meet because of the grief, because at the end of the day, she was also shot at, and mentally, physically, emotionally, she's not in the place where she can go to work right now. But the struggle is like, your child or your sibling has been hurt, and they say when you go to work, you put certain amount of money into unemployment, but when it's time to get this unemployment, the system is so screwed up, like they put you through the ringer, like you are the one suffering, like you have done something wrong. In my opinion, grief is just a lot of pain, senseless worrying, anxiety, emotions that you cannot control sometimes. Sometimes no one understands. In spite parents may have lost their child, but no one knows your pain. No one but you knows your pain, because every individual pain is different. I cannot speak for someone else. I can speak for my pain, and my pain is tremendously sad, because there's many moments, there's many days that I sit in my home and I just cry, because I have a picture that I sits on top of my television stand. And I talked to him. I said, Josh, I wish you were here. I miss our hugs. I miss our talks. I miss that you're not here. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I cannot speak for no one. But all I know, grief is something that I would not wish on my worst enemy. This kind of grief. Well, so far we're very fresh, but they have 2 suspects in custody. One is a young offender and one is a young adult. I have been going to Mother of Peace and they have been a great help. Also, Scarborough Centers for Healthy Communities has been assisting me with Uber cars so I can come to that program, and that's basically all of my support that I've been getting. And they also help me with counseling also. So I go to counseling that they are assisting me to pay. The ones that I held there are our moments when, we're at home and I sit in the living room or maybe in my room or anywhere, and he comes and he will come and he lie on my lap if I'm sitting on the sofa. He come and he lie and he put his head in my lap and he will there and talk and I play in his hair. I missed his hugs. I missed his warm embrace. He would come and he hugged me and said, Mom, you're okay? I said, yes, I'm okay. He rubbed my shoulders. We talk about everything. I miss all of that. I miss the promises that he made that we cannot forget. I missed him. I missed him. I missed him. I missed him. My advice to young people is that young people need to educate themselves. I know that some young people are struggling and there's a lot of support, but some of them refuse to take responsibility and to go out and seek those support because there's so many support, but they refuse. They choose to go after fast cash, drugs, and guns. And parents like myself are suffering because these guns are taking our children's life. My son was innocent. My son died because I do not know why, but he's dead. Young people need to put down the gun, educate themselves, and make themselves positive role model in the society, that the future would be brighter for tomorrow. Not spending most of their time in prison behind bars, and also their parents are suffering when they make these tragic mistakes. It's not only the parents that have been of child that has been hurt, but their parents also. So they need to change their mental thinking and focus to be better in society. Put the guns down, learn to cooperate and learn to unite with each other. The government is to be blamed. Children can buy guns like it's candy in stores. If I go to the alcohol store and I look too young, they ask me for my IDs. I do not know how in heaven's name youths 16 and under can still purchase gun and still own gun. I think, honestly speaking, the government is responsible for each and every one of our children that the gun took their lives for unnecessary reason, because the government has the opportunity to take stronger actions against young children that are committing crime and they're doing absolutely nothing to change the law. But I, Shondell Patricia Reese, will fight on behalf of my son. Maybe I will change, and maybe I will able to save some child's life one day to come. I will continue to fight to change laws, because my son will not just go just like that for no reason, and I will sit with it like it's okay. It's not okay. That was a gift that the Most High has given to me, and someone took him before time. So I have to stand for him, because he's now here no longer to fight. I know if it was me in his position, he would have fought for me. So that is my responsibility as a parent, to fight for my son's justice. And that's what I intend to do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natasha Jackson. I'm a mother of 3. I lost my son, Makai, at age 15. It was a day after his birthday. He went to meet. Originally, he was planning to do something for his birthday. He wanted to go to the movies, and I told him he could pick 2 friends to go to the movies. And when he called me and said, "Mom, I didn't meet up with my friends yet." So I said, "Okay, when you meet up with your friends, just come home and I'll give you the money to go to the movies." And then 15 minutes later, I get a call saying that your son just got shot in Regent Park. I didn't believe it. I started calling on his phone, because I just talked to him 15 minutes ago and he was fine. And then all of a sudden I hear he got shot. I was outgoing. I had all, in my house, anybody was welcome in my house. If they needed a place to stay, if they needed a roof over their head just for a couple of days, they were always welcome to come by me. And now that this happened, I don't trust nobody. I don't want nobody in my house. The trust is gone. Anybody come to my house, I want to search them. In my head, everything, it happened in our house, and nobody know he had a gun. My son just walk in the house and get shot, just like that. So I don't trust nobody. If that person had a gun in that house, I don't trust that they come in my house. So I have no trust. And every time I get a phone call, I'm worried about something gonna happen to my other son. If my kids are okay. Every time I see a shooting, I get anxiety attack. So now I never find out who shot my son. So every time I hear it in Regent Park, I assume is that the person who did my son? Or just the other day, I just heard about a shooting in Regent Park. I'll just flip it out. My oldest son, I wouldn't say he tuned it out. I don't think he's accepted it. It's going on 6 years now, and none of them is really, they're not taking it easy. They're angry, and they never deal with the emotion. They keep it inside. I got help from, criminal justice system, or whatever they call it. Mm-hmm. And they gave you therapy for 10 sessions. To me, that was not enough for me. It was not enough. And it's just for an hour or half an hour. And the place they sent me is way up in the western, and I live right down in Regent Park. So the places that sent me was so far. By the time I reach up there, it's they don't have enough time. I joined a healing circle in Regent Park. So I've been going there every other 2 weeks, and that's helpful. Getting to be around other people who've been affected just like me, other mothers who've been affected just like me. We could talk, we could relate, we could socialize. He was a joker.
Okay.
He loved people. He always tried to entertain people. He always wants to make people feel welcome. So he was just like a mommy boy. He was a mommy boy. He always take care of me. He always say Mom, I'll take care of you. I'll always be there for you. And in my heart, he's always there for me. He's still in my heart right now. I have a t-shirt of him. This is my son. That's my baby, my last son. He's my life. I have 3 boys, all 3 of them special in their own unique way, but this was my baby.
Okay.
And he always with me in my heart, in my soul, in my memories. Know your friends. Know your friends. If you notice that they're going down the wrong path, either talk to them or you stay away from them.
Okay.
Because anything could happen in a blink of an eye. And sometimes they might be for you, they might be for somebody else, and you end up getting the hit, not the person they're aiming for. No justice. The corrupted now, the police never came out, they knew who was in the house, and they didn't do much. They didn't do nothing. After when I call them, they say, oh yeah, it's a bigger picture. Cause they want to know where the gun come from. They didn't care about my son, they care about where the gun come from. My son is shot in a house with 8 people, and you can't tell me you can't do nothing about it. Question all 7. One of them did it. Do something about it. All they say is a bigger picture. They want to find where the gun come from. I don't care where the gun from. I want to know who killed my son.
My name's Crystal, and I'm a mother of a homicide child. My son's name is Jeremiah. He was shot in 2020, April 26th. The worst day of my life. We had a very close relationship. I'm a mother of 5 children in total. Jeremiah, for some strange reason, was one that was always close to me. I have lots of pictures and videos. He was only 15 when he passed. And prior to his passing, he was home with me, not going to school. A lot of it to do with at that time it was COVID, so all the kids were home and stuff, so I got to spend a lot of time with him. Jeremiah always had a smile, very loving child. It was a Sunday morning. And one of Jeremiah's friends called him and asked him if he could go outside with him. And Jeremiah said he didn't want to go. Some time had passed by, like hours, and that was like early in the morning, around 9, 10 o'clock. And then around 4 or 5 o'clock, the friend came over, and Jeremiah said, "Oh mom, I'm just stepping outside in the front with my friend." So I never thought nothing of it. I was like, okay. He said, I won't be long, I'm just going to the front. And then about 15 minutes later, a neighbor knocked my door and said that Jeremiah was outside laying on the floor and that he seemed to be injured. When I went outside, by that time the police and the paramedics were there and they were giving Jeremiah CPR. They rushed Jeremiah to Sunnybrook Hospital and they drove me down in a separate car, and that's when the doctors told me that my son had passed. At the point that Jeremiah died, I thought, I lost my grandmother like 6 weeks prior. And I thought like, at this point in my life, I had experienced whatever there is to experience in life. And then when this happened, it crushed me in ways that are unthinkable. For the first year, I wasn't normal. I wasn't present. It's like an outer body experience. Like I was there, but I don't remember a lot. So I lost a lot of memory. I lost trust. At one point, I even lost my faith in God. I questioned that. I was so shattered at the time that I didn't see what my other children were going through because I was so broken myself that I didn't recognize that what my family was going through. And then I did seek counseling. I did 10 sessions was what I was eligible for. And after the 10 sessions, there was no more funding and I had to figure out things on my own. And that's when I reached out to another organization that helped me find this mothers group that I come to, and also counseling, privatized counseling. The siblings have never been the same. Christmas, holidays, birthdays, there's that like unspoken thing in the room. It's like, it doesn't matter like how happy we are, like there's that emptiness, it's that unspoken thing. It's hard, especially if you're not getting the therapy and the counseling. That was a big support for me. It's hard. His younger sibling, my youngest sibling, Jacob, he's turning 15. Jacob doesn't live a normal 15-year-old life. Like, Jacob doesn't go outside. Jacob doesn't have peers. He's afraid to trust. He can't handle big groups of people. He just knows at the time he was 11 and his older brother went outside and 5 minutes later his brother was dead, right? My older siblings, I have 2 older sons, they're now incarcerated since the passing of Jeremiah. They just went in a downward spiral. And then the other sibling, she turned to alcohol and prescription drugs to cope. So she's not doing well. So it's like, on top of losing Jeremiah, I was left with broken children as well. And there's like no supports. Definitely one day at a time. sometimes I feel like I trick myself into believing that it's going to be okay, right? I try to just stay strong for the other children, but definitely a challenge. I've had a heart attack. I've broken down many times. Some days are hard to get out of bed. So just one day at a time, really. I see a psychiatrist. I go to therapy. I come to the mother's group. But there's really nothing that could change what happened, right? Like it's just, you just learn to live with it. One day me and Jeremiah were driving, we were going for lunch, and we both just started laughing. We didn't know what we were laughing at. We just started laughing. He knew how to keep his joy and how to make me laugh. My son's killer was arrested. That whole justice system, there was no support. I had to navigate everything on my own. And my son's murderer pled guilty. He pled guilty to, so he was charged with second-degree murder. And because he pled guilty and he made a deal, it was dropped down to manslaughter, and he received a 5-year sentence. The advice I would give is to not give up in their faith, and to try to find an organization like this organization that I'm in now, where you can find supports from other parents that have firsthand gone through something traumatic like this. This is the moms group that I come to in Regent Park, and we have a therapist speaks with us, and we have dinner, and we talk, and we just get together and just talk with each other. We take day trips. It's very comforting speaking to other mothers that are firsthand understand how you feel. It's just something comforting about being around that support, and it's been a tremendous help to me.